Okay, working on this. Where is it? Here we go. The 2UZ-FE. Okay, doing these diverter valves, air check valves, and so basically pull the intake off. Basic stuff. Fuel lines. We got one over here, and there was a return line. Let's see, this is the supply. That's the return. Anyways, basic stuff. But when I got the intake off, it started getting a little more complicated. Let's back out here. And to get to these bolts here was a real pain. What I ended up using was a, let's see, I think I got a 10-inch and a, looks like a 3-inch, so about 13 inches. Plus my wobble 10mm extension on the end. And I was able to come through the side on here to get the lower one, okay, as well as the upper one. But the lower one on this side was the hardest. This side wasn't too terribly bad, but you did have to fish it along that tube there behind it to get to that lower bolt. So it's going to be really fun putting this back together. But luckily the gaskets, they clip on here, so I'm not too worried about the gasket dislocating. But it's just a matter of getting those bolts threaded straight, you know, and then getting them tight. So, anyways, to get the diverter valve or the check valves off, I used a special socket that I had made a long time ago for another job, but I ground down this 10mm, very shallow, just enough to grab the head of the bolt. You can see there. And then on the other side, I even ground that down, so it doesn't really hold on to my tool very well anymore, but it's super shallow. Okay, that coupled with my long, very shallow head 1/4-inch drive ratchet handle, I was able to get that back bolt off of the check valve. It's right on the firewall. Once you crack it loose, it's pretty easy to get to, but there's this big, it's got this, you know, it's got this fin in the way of that back bolt right there, which is angled away from you. So it's pretty hard to get to that back one. And, but with that real shallow socket, it wasn't too bad. Like I said, the biggest thing was getting those tube bolts loose, the 10mm. They're pretty short. Let's see if I can find one here. Oh, I believe, yeah, this is one of them. So they're real short, but that lower one is real pain in the butt to get to. Everything else is pretty obvious, so I wish you guys luck. You can do it without pulling that cross tube, and I'm actually about to pull the starter here. There's a couple of 14mm bolts that are sitting away in the back of the bell housing. They face this way. 14mm on the head. Oops. I used a deep socket with a off there. I used a deep socket with my $11 Harbor Freight ratchet that I absolutely love. But anyways, that got me to where I needed to go. This is my deep socket, and then I also had to use my medium deep, you know, so I had to switch them out and get just the right length. But I hope that helps you guys. Have a good one. Okay, so on this 2UZ-FE, this is my diverter valve. It goes right after the air pump. This hose was rock hard. I mean, just rock hard. But I was able to get it off, as you can see, without any damage whatsoever. No cracking, no nothing. But this is rock hard. If I hit it with a hammer, it'll shatter. The way I got it off was using a heat gun. I had to get it super hot, like, you know, engine temperatures, a couple hundred degrees you want it, you know, just like the engine sits at operating, because this thing cooks in the valley non-stop for its whole life. So I'm going to be able to get away without replacing this because I used a heat gun. Toyota doesn't keep these in stock normally, so it'll take you a little bit to get one if you have to order it. The Dorman part number here is 911646. Comes with new bolts for both sides. This is how they sit on the crossover pipe. And you can see the gaskets are clip-on, so they won't have to worry about those falling off when you're putting it together. And these are two different vacuum lines, so make sure that they point towards the passenger side when you're installing them. You don't want them on the back side. You'll have a lot of problems there. Anyways, we're putting a new air pump, a new diverter valve, and both new check valves, because the old pump came apart inside and started rubbing on the housing, and we had a lot of issues online with these failing because the fins come apart, which I did find some of the fins had broken off, and this had come apart and it was rubbing on the housing and was most likely not functioning at all. We're going to have to heat this hose as well to get it off. This one's a little softer, but still going to have to heat that up so we don't damage anything. So always, when you're doing this job, do the pump, do the diverter valve, and both check valves, because when it breaks the fins off the pump, it sends the debris through all these valve systems, and you can still have problems. So I recommend replacing all of it. And of course, we got some new intake gaskets to go with it, and we're going to clean up our intake and get that all cleaned up and ready to go back in. And so this heat gun is key to this repair. I got mine at Harbor Freight, I think, for 20 bucks or something stupid. Anyway, I hope this all helps you guys, and have a great day. Okay, one more note on this pump. The air inlet is open to the atmosphere. Toyota does not supply a breather filter for this, so it is able to suck in any debris that is, if you go down a dusty dirt road, it's going to be sucking that in, and that's what causes these failures, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick a length of 1-inch hose on here, and I'm going to stuff Scotch-Brite into it to keep any debris from going into the fan blades. This should keep a long life for the pump, and the Scotch-Brite will allow it to breathe fairly easy, as long as it's not clogged up with dirt and water. Some of these do have water intrusion issues if you're off-roading and whatever. You can always set up a longer hose that will come up to the firewall so you can avoid any water intrusion into the system. Because it is sealed with O-rings all around the housing and everything. If you did want to go, off-roading and submerge your vehicle, this is a crucial element that you need to do so that you don't have this failure and have to pull your intake. Anyways, I hope that helps. So a 1-inch hose with some Scotch-Brite in it to keep any debris out will give this repair a long life.